welcome everybody to the evening sports page right here on 101.7 WGOG. He's Austin Silvey. I'm Cade Crenshaw. Glad to have you with us here tonight on the program, the 28th day of February 2018. If you want to join the program here tonight, the phone number is 638-3616, 633-616, toll free 1-800-884-0646. And as always, you can choose a message over on the text line at 643-5662. Going to have a fun show tonight. Have a lot to cover. We've got some in-state women's action for the Tigers, and also we have a preview of the upcoming schedule and game for the Clemson Tiger men's team as they take on North Carolina on Saturday. And also some injury news for the Gamecock men's squad we're going to be covering here tonight as well. Don't forget, we will be breaking down the Clemson UofSC Baseball series set for this weekend, the Reedy River Rivalry set to kick off coming up tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Also, you'll have it on Saturday over at Fluor Field and on Sunday at noon down in Columbia. So a full weekend of Clemson and Gamecock baseball going head-to-head. And I like how Monte Lee put it on Tuesday, Sylvie, when he said this rivalry is the Red Sox and the Yankees of college baseball.
Yeah, I know anybody that has been in South Carolina, been a part of this rivalry, would probably agree with that. And honestly, most college baseball media pundits and anybody that follows college baseball with any little bit of an inkling of an understanding of it would probably agree with that. I know it tends to be more popular here just for regional reasons, but I think nationwide, to a degree, it's respected as one of those, especially since that 2010 battle in Omaha at the World Series where these teams went at it, and just they've met in the postseason a few times, and they've been playing since 1899. So it is one of those historic rivalries in college baseball.
We're also going to be, like I say, covering that series for you completely, but also tonight you're going to be hearing from both Monte Lee and Mark Kingston as they sat down with the media this week. We're going to let you hear from each of those two individuals coming up in hour number 2. But a big day across the sports world, both out of Major League Baseball, the NFL, and we're going to talk a lot about the Combine tonight and everything that has to do entailed with that one. And I want to ask two big questions tonight, and that's which players have the most to prove at the Combine. Big questions here tonight on the program. Sylvie, how are you? How was your Thursday?
Well, it was good. Just kind of another average day. Some rain to deal with. Hopefully that'll be gone by tomorrow. I would, like to get a baseball game in and not have to stand in the rain or have it delayed or have it, just a nice day would be. This is actually a busier weekend than I had planned for earlier in the week. Obviously knew some basketball for Clemson was happening.
Sure.
We knew the baseball series was happening. I completely forgot the Combine was this week. For some reason, I thought it was a couple weeks away still. It's
getting going.
It snuck up on me a little bit this year. But, yeah, it's getting going in full swing tomorrow. And, these next couple weeks are going to be pretty busy.
That's an understatement right there. Happy crossover season. First, let's go to the biggest news of the day. That is Bryce Harper and the Philadelphia Phillies agreeing to a 13-year, $330 million contract. Whoa. Just last week, we talked about Manny Machado's record-setting deal of $300 million. Bryce Harper goes and gets himself a $13 million deal. 13-year deal for $330 million. This gets him paid till he's approaching 40. So this is pretty much a lifetime contract for him in terms of baseball, and enough money to where you don't have to worry about paying the bills, to say the least. But when you really break it down, it's a little outrageous. Well, just a little bit. I get the guy is talented. I get he's good at baseball, but the average median household income. The average household income in the city of Philadelphia is $41,500. Reasonable. That's your average. Well, Bryce Harper is going to be making almost 45,000 every time he steps to the plate. And you break this down. 45,000 when he steps to the plate. He can strike out every time, still steps to the plate. Every time he puts his uni on, that's 56,000 a game. A little pretty penny there.
Yeah.
When you first saw the deal, what was your reaction? What were you more shocked by? 13-year or $330 million?
The money's not the issue. There's no salary cap in baseball. So I mean, if teams are willing to pay somebody, it bother me near as much as the length of these contracts. And look, I'm gonna get in my bag for a second here. Some bag of adjectives I got for what I thought about this deal. I thought it was invincibly, staunchly, positively, unequivocally, categorically, and unquestionably stupid. I think they just paid a marginally good player statistically Hall of Fame money to put a couple seats or for a few years maybe to get maybe 2 or 3 decent years out of him. And then I think he's going to end up like he kind of has in Washington. They're not going to do anything. He's going to play at his own pace, essentially, I think. There's nothing about him or Machado in the long career. I mean, he's 7 years in. If he was like a guy that's been in the minors for 3 or 4 years, just got to the league 2 or 3 years ago, and is still trying to find his role on an MLB team, and you still had a lot of potential, talent, and there's still a lot to look forward to potentially, that's one thing. But he's been in the majors for 7 years now. That's a big, wide range of data points to look at. And 5 of the 7 years have been average at best. He had one really good year where he hit 42 home runs. He had one decent year last
That's your outlier.
year. Yeah.
Your 42 home run year is your outlier.
Yeah, and the first 3 years, 59, 58, 32 RBI, 99 in the 2015 year, and then 86, 87, 100. He hasn't hit triple-digit RBIs until last year and just did get there. He's walked a good bit, 130 times last year, 124 in 15, 8 in 2016. And then the other 4 years, not nearly as much, the highest being 68. He strikes out an average of 146 times a year. His career batting average is 279. Career on-base percentage is 388, which is, these are numbers that are okay at best. And they gave him a 13-year, $330 million contract at the age of 25, 26. So when he's 39 or 40, that contract will be up. No opt-out. They gave him, that is a Hall of Fame level contract for a guy who is a marginally average player. I don't get it. And what is he? He's not like a leader or anything. He's not a guy that people flocked. I mean, LeBron James, for all the crap I give him, and I can't stand him, and I don't think he's this person anymore, but when he went back to Cleveland to a degree in his first few years in Cleveland, even some in Miami, he was a leader of those teams. He would be worth that kind of money. Guys like Michael Jordan or your Dirk Nowitzki's, guys like that, guys who are leaders. You've got to, if you're going to get this kind of contract, you need to have intangibles on top of talent, on top of production. He has average production. He has talent, but, after 7 years, the best he's manifested is 100 RBIs, striking out 146 times on average.
And he's coming off, in my mind, his worst season to date.
Yeah, so, he had one outlier season out of 7. That's enough data points to say, look, that's not potential. He doesn't have potential anymore. I've seen 7 about anything he's done, anything of his personality. He doesn't have the intangibles. And you gave him virtually a Hall of Fame contract. And I think it is interesting because now all these conversations coming up, well, man, what's Ronald Acuna going to be worth in a few years when his contract's up? What's guys that are actually worth, like Mike Trout? He strikes out a lot, but he's got a 307 career average. He's one of the best outfielders in the game. He's actually really good, and he's a likable guy. He's got great character. He's a leader. What's he worth then? What would a Ken Griffey Jr. have been worth? Willie Mays? What would those guys have been worth with this kind of money and at this point in time?
Well, it's a different day, different dollar.
Oh, yeah. But, if you had a Willie Mays come along now, like that style, you're going to have to break the bank that franchise is going bankrupt to pay him.
It's tough because more and more of these big-time names are going to begin to ask for larger contracts such as these. Now, I don't know if we'll see so many long-term deals like this. I do believe we will see those continue to be high numbers. Now, I wouldn't say as high as 300, 330, but definitely high-ranging. I think the biggest drawback I had was not necessarily the money, because when we saw where Manny Machado had signed for $300 million, I think I even said on the show, well, that means Bryce Harper's going to ask for at least $300 million and one penny, because he wants to be the biggest free agent splash of the summer. And so the money didn't price me. The amount of time truly did, because you're banking on Harper being effective until age 40. Really, I would say with a contract like this, you're banking on him. Out of a 13-year deal, you're probably wanting a good 8-9 years out of him, at least 8 to 9. Hopefully more, of course. But for me, in my mind, I look at it as a situation. The Phillies are looking to fill the seats, and they just landed a big-time name. Now, what's even more interesting is Bryce Harper's first road trip of the regular season is in D.C. He starts out in Atlanta. Or either in Atlanta. No, he's hosting Atlanta. Phillies will host Atlanta to start the year. Then the Phillies go on the road to play the Nationals. That's fun stuff. It's good storylines, and it gets the Phillies relevant again. And also, like we've said, Bryce Harper isn't the best players of all time. That's not to say he's not a good player. He's a really, really talented guy. And it helps the Phillies because they haven't had this kind of name in Philadelphia since, I don't know, maybe Ryan Howard was making that AP like run he did back in the mid-2000s. Why would they mid? Probably mid to late 2000s. Because Ryan Howard was a great player, great first baseman for the Phillies. And they haven't had that type of name or that type of left-handed bat in the lineup since Howard retired. So I think it's beneficial for the Phillies. Harper, they got him for. I personally, if I'm a MLB GM, I'm not looking at Bryce Harper as a $330 million guy. I'm not looking at him as a $250 million guy. And even more so, drawing back to the Manny Machado deal, and I mentioned this on the show, went down. It was a situation of, I agree you should sign these guys. They are great players, who can benefit your ball club. But if I'm a GM, I'm going to go either one of them, give or take either one. I would sign them to probably a 4 to 5 year, 150 deal, 125, 150 deal. That's about $20-25 million a year. I think that's reasonable, and it's reasonable for what they're worth at this point, because Bryce Harper's been in the league for 7 seasons. Let's not forget that. Been in the league 7 years, and they're not getting any younger, and there's more better guys in the future. So I don't want to put my eggs all in one basket, but do get them for the bulk of their prime. Like I say, out of Harper's 13-year deal with the Phillies, I'm pretty sure they're hoping for a good 8, 9, 10 years out of it. Back end will just be, yeah, he's still here, because there is no opt-out. Harper's there for 13. So that's big time. But just paying him $157,000 a game, $45,000 every time he steps with the plate when you break it down, just a little bit too high for me, just a little bit. But glad I'm not a MLB GM, and I'll just sit here and talk about it. We'll take a break. Oh, go ahead, Silvey.
No, I was just gonna say that. I mean, they signed a long-term contract for a short-sighted short-term problem. Yeah, it's like they were just too short-sighted with this. Like, yeah, he'll bring people into the seats, and you might get 2 or 3 pretty good years of them, because I mean the Phillies ballpark in 2018 last year was number 4 in home runs hit there per game.
That's
or
a small
something.
park.
And then it was number 1 in 2017. I mean, it's a home run friendly park, so he'll look good playing there. But I think with 13 years, I think he wanted to just get paid. That's why he wasn't signed this late into spring training already. And, well, now that he's paid, sure, he might play for a few more years. But he's a guy I think that now can afford to play at his own pace. And by that, I mean, if he doesn't want to really kind of like a Manny Machado in 3 or 4 years, then he doesn't have to.
Or take a look at this, LeBron James. I mean, he took off the Warriors game. He didn't play in that one when it was reported, LeBron's going to play for the Lakers, on and on and on. He took off from that game due to load management.
Yeah, and apparently the night before he was helping a rapper, I think 2 Chainz, a rapper or something with some album.
2 Chainz.
Or like helping him with music. I don't know. He moved out there, like I said, I think for more things outside of basketball, and it's starting to show.
Sylvia, we're going to go ahead and take a break. We'll come back on the other side and talk about my Cowboys. You cool with that?
Yeah, some interesting news about them today, I guess.
We'll talk about that. Tidbit of news on a future Hall of Famer returning to the game, and much, much more on the other side. Stay tuned. We still have a lot to get to tonight. We haven't even gotten to the Combine yet, and it's 8:25. We'll be back. And welcome back, everybody, to the evening sports page right here on 101.7 WGOG. He's Austin Silvey. Cade Crenshaw back to discussion here. Silvey, another big tidbit of news from the sports world today concerned the Dallas Cowboys and Jason Witten coming out of retirement after just 1 year, comes to the Cowboys on a 1 year, $3.5 million deal. When I first saw the news, of course, inner Cowboy fan jumped out. I was like, yes. It felt good to have Witten back because, you get a team captain back, great player, future Hall of Famer, and truthfully, he addresses one of the biggest needs of the Cowboys right now. And I think gives him a cushion. I still think they're going to draft a tight end in this year's NFL draft. They were so close to getting Dallas Goedert last year. I think he went 3 picks before the boys were up. But I think they're going to try and go after a tight end this year and probably the 4th, 5th, 6th round, somewhere in that area, on the back end of the draft. They don't have a first rounder, thanks to Amari Cooper, but I think that's very well worth it. Jason Witten coming in gives you a tight end that can be effective, is talented, there's no question about that, is a familiar face of the program, and is a guy you want your future tight end, that I hope they still draft, modeling his game under. So I think he's a big-time addition to the Cowboys next year. And when I say he's a legend, you look at what he's done for the Dallas Cowboys, a historic franchise. Jason Witten is the franchise leader in games played, catches, and receiving yards. In Cowboys history, he's 3rd in touchdown catches. One other tidbit that I like about adding Jason Witten back is he complements Amari Cooper in the passing game. I think one thing I always tell people, they say, what's holding the Cowboys back? I think a very good quarterback in Dak Prescott, a all-pro running back in Ezekiel Elliott, one of the best the league has to offer, one of the league's receiver one, I wouldn't say great, a good wide receiver one, and Amari Cooper. What's holding back this Cowboy offense? They didn't have another passing threat. When you look at the other receivers that were available, your next best option was Cole Beasley in the slot. Well, Beasley looks like they have not signed him. He has not expressed interest in re-signing with the Cowboys in the offseason, Beasley, because Jason Witten has great hands. He's a reliable target, and he can help Dak Prescott better his game because quarterbacks that play with great players better themselves. So I like what he also adds to the Cowboy offense.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how this goes. He's an older guy, obviously. He's like, 30, 37, 38, somewhere in that range. So he's up there in age, been out of it for a year now.
You make him sound old. He's only 36.
Wow, really?
Yeah, 36. Romo's 38. Gronk's 29.
Okay. Because I know his rookie year was, I think, 2003. So I was just trying to do all that math in my head, but I was counting this season already. I forgot we just got to 2019. So, yeah, 36 makes sense. But, so he's on obviously the back half of a career. I think the best news about all is that he won't be on Monday Night Football broadcasts anymore. So I'm okay with that. Maybe they'll get Booger McFarland off the little side.
Monday Night Football do. A few ideas that I pulled together here. I have four names. Well, five. One is moving Booger McFarland up from the Boogermobile. I think that would be the smartest move. That was a dumb thing. That didn't make any sense to just stand there. So it looked like he was in a deer stand almost. Then you had Beth Mowens, who called play-by-play for Monday Night Football for one game last year. She's rumored to be one of the favorites to land the color job. Very good. Peyton Manning is a name who was heavily sought after by both the Four Letter Network and Fox last year. Lots of money involved. Didn't bite with either. Stayed off of TV as far as an analyst goes. From what I was able to read today, Kurt Warner was actually the second choice to Jason Witten last year when it came to Monday Night Football. Another thing I think that's being overlooked a lot, Matt Hasselbeck. He's been with the Four Letter Network for a while, had a decent NFL career, a well-known name, role on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, I don't know if I've heard Matt Hasselbeck a lot on anything, so I'm not really sure do well with it, better than Witten would. Peyton Manning would be, I think, entertaining, and I think he's a little bit smarter, too. I think he would understand a bit more of what's going on. Who was the other one? Kurt Warner.
Yeah,
he's on the NFL Network a lot. I've heard him. I don't think he's kind of boring from the little bit I've heard him watching the NFL Network some. He was okay. I don't know. He's done some of the AAF stuff. He's involved with that too.
Is Romo making a smart move to stay at CBS?
Oh yeah,
I agree.
He needs to. He's actually doing fine in that role. But yeah, I think Peyton would be entertaining and would draw viewership. And I think Matt Hasselbeck, I mean, I haven't really heard him talk outside of that is smart and educated, and I think he'd probably do a pretty good job.
Good stuff from my info. I do have to ask, Silvey, when you think, we have a text on the text line from Rudy down in Honeypath. Rudy says, bring Dennis Miller back.
They probably won't do that.
I doubt it. But we may see Dennis Miller. He wasn't bad on Monday Night Football.
Just get Adam Schefter in there so he can break news the entire broadcast of the game while the Titans are playing the Jets in the most boring game of the weekend on a Monday night. We can have at least Adam Schefter breaking news to us every minutes. That would be fun. They've got to figure out. I know it's hard to figure out how good teams are going to be, injuries and all that kind of stuff, but Monday Night Football games are just not, or haven't been at least the past few years, anything to really look forward to. And the ones that we thought were going to be good ended up being just as boring as the games we knew were going to be boring going in. There just hasn't been. I don't know what it is, if they're not doing a good job with these matchups and determining what's going to be a good game.
It has. The one thing about the Dennis Miller idea is I think he's gone too far into his career as a comedian to be brought back. I think people wouldn't take him seriously.
And a lot of people now don't really know who he is.
Yeah, you needed a catchy name.
That's why they brought in Witten, because people knew who he was.
I mean, Joe Tessitore isn't going to jump off the page at you. So you need a catchy name like these we've mentioned, Booger McFarland, Peyton Manning, Kurt Warner. Maybe a stretch is Matt Hasselbeck. I think that's a stretch, but is at least one you go, hey, I at least know who he is.
Yeah, because I'm not sure how Peyton would do in the color role, if that's even something he wants to pursue, because I think he tends to like the commercials, entertainment type stuff, low-key. I mean, I enjoy his commercials. He's a pretty funny guy when he wants to be, and I think he would bring in a lot of viewers simply just to hear him, because he is a pretty funny guy, but I don't even know if he'd care to do it necessarily.
It's a night. When I first heard the news that the Cowboys had brought back Jason Witten, you know what I asked myself?
I don't.
Silvey. How about them Cowboys? This is the Evening Sports Page. We'll be back. Do you wonder what it would have been like to sit in Floyd's barbershop back in Mayberry? Just imagine sitting in the chair with the barber pole spinning outside and you have a personal relationship with your barber. We can have that same experience at Palmetto Fade. They cut and style both men and women's hair. So go by and visit Chris Grant and his wonderful staff at 118 South Catherine Street right here in Walhalla for a great haircut at an even better price. And don't forget, you don't have to worry about having a bad hair day when you have the right cut.
If you need service on your septic system, you can't afford to wait. When you call Express Septic in Greenville, you will be working with the best in the business. Family owned and operated, they serve the entire upstate, specializing in everything you need to keep your home or business running smoothly, including new septic tank installation, septic tank pumping, and also emergency repairs with 24-hour availability. I guarantee when you call the experts at Express Septic Services, the job will be done right the first time. They offer both senior and military discounts. So give them a call today at 864-303-0337. That's 303-0337. Or you find them on Facebook at Express Septic Services or online at expresssepticsc.net. Express Septic says, pump that tank.
The Burrito Shack in Seneca has so much to offer, from their amazing deals and their irresistible food to their fast and friendly service. Go by and check out their made-to-order menu of burritos, tacos, nachos, wings, and so much more, along with their delicious homemade desserts at 12,020 North Radio Station Road in Seneca. And if you tell them you heard them here on the Evening Sports Page, they'll throw in your drink for free. Make sure you're friends at the Burrito Shack in Seneca.
Here's the deal. The Dave's Double is made with a half pound of fresh, never frozen. Here's a lot of deals. Download the Wendy's app, where you can get a bunch of great offers on delicious Wendy's food like the Dave's Double.
Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada at participating Wendy's for a limited time.
For over 40 years, American Services has maintained a continuous focus on quality services performed in the safest manner possible. Providing security, staffing, and janitorial services, American Services was founded and is still headquartered right here in upstate South Carolina. They offer a wide range of services under one management umbrella that serves both you individually and personally. To find out more, give them a call today at 292-7450 and find out today about American Security, Action Staffing, and ACI Janitorial. American Services. 3 services, 1 solution.
This is the Evening Sports Page with Cade Crenshaw and Austin Silvey on 101.7 WGOG.
We're back here on the Evening Sports Page, 101.7 WGOG. He's Austin Silvey. I'm Cade Crenshaw. Silvey, one other text on the text line from Honeypath, and Rudy says, how about Jerome Bettis, the bus? That may be that's not a bad idea.
What is he doing these days? I haven't seen him on. Well, I mean, I obviously don't watch Four Letter Network very much anymore. I don't know if he's on their programming still or what he's doing. But yeah, I feel like I haven't seen him on TV or anywhere in quite a while.
I don't know. It doesn't say right offhand. There's a Google search. What is Jerome Bettis doing these days? Actually, a story from May the 8th, 2017. The Four Letter Network actually laid off Jerome Bettis. So, don't think he's going to be coming back 2 years later.
Well, that would explain. I knew I hadn't seen him in a while. So, and I mean, I know I don't watch the network, but
he was in on the cycle of layoffs that they all did.
And man, they laid off a lot of good people, and we know who picked up all their writers, all the good ones at least.
The Athletic. I'm heading to the Athletic.
They're picking up everybody.
Ooh. All right, so let's switch gears here over to the Combine. The first question I have for you is, which players have the most to prove at the Combine? All right, that's one thing I want to tackle first here. But before we do, I want to cover something I found interesting. I did some research earlier in my show prep, and I found a collection of names of guys that were never invited to the Combine, but yet went on to have very successful NFL careers. All right? How about this one? Doug Baldwin, receiver for the Seahawks, 2011 draft out of Stanford. Actually went undrafted as well. He has 6,563 career receiving yards. Those rank behind the number 4 overall A.J. Green and the number 6 pick Julio Jones. That's it from that draft. That's it. By the way, no relation here, but do you remember a guy by the name of Jonathan Baldwin, receiver?
That name sounds extremely familiar.
He went in the first round to the Chiefs. There's no relation between Jonathan Baldwin and Doug Baldwin. Jonathan Baldwin managed just 607 career receiving yards. Seems to say the Chiefs selected the wrong Baldwin.
I would say so.
Now, this guy, you can decide whether or not he's had a great NFL career. I would say probably so based on the money he's gotten, but Malcolm Butler, a corner, now plays for the Titans, went undrafted out of West Alabama, got a Super Bowl ring, by the way. I remember he was the guy that picked off Russell Wilson. Carroll elected to throw it for some reason. But last year, got that 5-year, $62 million deal. $30 million of it guaranteed. All right, so big-time deal there for Malcolm Butler. Julian Edelman, Super Bowl winning receiver, Super Bowl MVP for the Patriots this year, went in the 10th round out of Kent State, was never invited to the NFL draft. How about this one, Silvey, also out of Kent State? Antonio Gates, never invited to the Combine. Staying with the Patriots, Steven Gostkowski, their kicker. You know where Steven Gostkowski came out of? What college?
Oh, if you wouldn't have asked, I knew.
3 Super Bowl rings, the Patriots' all-time leader in scoring.
Oh, I'm having a total brain fart.
Memphis.
Duh.
Memphis. Other ones here, Tyreek Hill for the Chiefs. Came out of West Alabama, never invited to the Combine.
Speed kills.
More recent names here, guys that are still active. Adam Thielen, wide receiver of the Vikings, came out of Minnesota State, was undrafted. He had to pay $250. Adam Thielen, a great player now. Also, Philip Lindsay, a running back for the Broncos. Of course, I believe got Rookie of the Year consideration, if not one Rookie of the Year, was a Pro Bowler as well. Great rookie season for Philip Lindsay there. And also, Andrew Villanueva, the offensive tackle for the Steelers, came out of Army, was not invited to the NFL draft. Now, you have to understand what Andrew Villanueva did at Army. He played a ton of positions. He played guard, he played DN, he played tight end, he played receiver, all that good stuff. Once he graduated, though, he went to serve his commitment in our armed forces. 3 years after his last college game, he attended a super regional combine, was signed, and then cut by the Eagles. Well, then was picked up by the Steelers, and he's been selected to the past 2 Pro Bowls. So those are just a quick list I had compiled earlier of little interesting names that had never been invited to the Combine. But when I asked the question, which players have the most to prove, first one that comes to my mind, it wasn't that long ago that we thought he was baseball bound. There's no reason to concern ourselves with his NFL aspirations. It's tough to look at Kyler Murray and wonder what he's going to be. We know he's fast. We know he's athletic. We know he's explosive. One question I want us to ask, though, how well will he perform in the on-field drills? And I know the question that a lot of people are going to be asking him, a lot of teams, as far as that goes, is what's his commitment to football? Because, I mean, let's face it, Kyler Murray has the NFL right in the palm of his hand. Because here's my fear for Kyler Murray, is that if he's drafted by a team, okay, pick whatever team you want, he goes there and doesn't get playing time right away or isn't the starter and kind of bounce around the league, he can just say, "Oh, I'm done. I'm going back and playing baseball." You know, MLB, see if I can get that one out. If he goes and gets disgruntled by an NFL team, it's very easy for him to just flip the script. "Oh, I'm going to baseball. I'm done. I'm going to baseball." And that's just kind of his ace in the hole, in my mind. You look at his measurables today. Today was measuring day across the board for offensive players. Kyler Murray came in at 5'10". 5'10" and 1 inch. Came in at 207 pounds. His hand, 9.5 inches. His arms, 28.5 inches. His arms were the smallest of the available quarterbacks. His hands were actually not. So would you like to guess not just the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys that had either the same size or small Kyler Murray today?
I know Drew Lock and Brett Rippon both come in with 9. I think Jake Browning was smaller because I don't like anything. Browning's going to end up in the Canadian Football League.
Or the AAF.
Yeah, I've thought about that, but I don't even know if he's good enough for that.
The others were Kyle Shermer.
Yeah.
And Ryan Finley. Ryan Finley has the same size hands as Kyler Murray, according to the measurables.
Now, nowhere near the arm strength.
Kyler Murray was well below the arm length across the board. Weight-wise, he was not the smallest. That title went to Trace McSorley by 5 pounds. Shortest, though, did go to Kyler Murray, 5'10" and 1 inch. This kid's got a lot of proof. And I'm an NFL team. I don't worry about picking him in the first round because you have to worry about that possibility he leaves for baseball. I mean, let's say he's not performing well at the NFL level. Your team's struggling. He's playing decent, but your team's, not the Patriots dynasty here. They're just your average ball club. Or let's say he's not playing it much. The question is, will he stick with it? I think Kyler Murray knows those questions are coming, and I'm interested to see how NFL teams evaluate him following that. So, he's going to perform well in the on-the-field drills. The bigger question is, which players have the most to prove? It's in the question room that Kyler Murray has to prove himself.
Yeah, and actually, as of right now, it's been reported he's not planning on throwing or doing any of the drills at the Combine. He's just, there to get the measurables in, talk with teams, questions, interview processes, all that. And then I think he's just planning on doing all the other stuff or some of it at the Oklahoma Pro Day. But apparently that's not exactly like 100% concrete. Like, it's kind of he said he wouldn't, but it's not out of the question that he might. So I'm not really sure about all that, but I think right now he just sells itself and the talk he's getting, the team, like, there's talk and potential that the Cardinals may get rid of Josh Rosen, not because of social media. I did some personal investigating into that today, because Rosen, his Instagram had no Cardinal content on it. It was all erased, all gone, nothing linking him to the Cardinals. People were freaking out, and I was like, okay, well, why Instagram? So I go and find his Twitter, still has Cardinals stuff, and the last 2 posts were relevant to or related to the Instagram thing, saying he got hacked, got it fixed, and whatnot. That was 3 days ago. So that was just a lot to do about nothing. But there's a lot of talk from Cardinals people. I don't know if it's smoke. It's obviously lying season. That's what the Combine really sets that season into full go. But there's talk of, obviously, I think the Giants would. I have them projected to trade up with the Jets to grab him at number 3. I know they like bigger Gettleman likes bigger quarterbacks, but I think, God, with those offensive pieces would be really fun to watch, even though I hate the Giants. But, yeah, I don't think he has anything he needs to prove. I think at this point, with the talk he's getting, he just won the Heisman. If you watch his film, everything he can do everything you need an NFL quarterback to do. I just think at this point it may be because there's nothing to gain from it. I think he can only hurt himself and doing the on-field stuff. So just wait till Oklahoma's Pro Day where you're comfortable with the that setting. You're not competing against the other quarterbacks. So there's not really anything to grade you like versus somebody else. So you're not really hurting anything you do. So I think it kind of makes sense. And really the biggest questions everybody has is, of course, the interview process, the MLB. Like if we take you number 1 or if we take you in the top 5 or take you in the top 2, wherever, teams are going to ask, can we trust and know that you're going to be committed? Why did you pick football over baseball? They're going to ask all, and I think dealing with all that this week, that's his biggest concern and the thing he really focuses on. So not throwing, I don't think is as big a deal as some people probably will end up making it out to be. But I really wish he would, because I enjoy watching good quarterbacks throw at the combine, and there's really not a ton of those this year. So, but Lamar Jackson didn't throw last year either, and he ended up, getting picked in the first round, so it worked. But I don't think it would hurt him not to, per se.
Lots of stuff surrounding Kyler Murray. A few other names I want us to take a look at here for guys that have a lot to prove at the combine. How about Titus Howard? Look at small school prospects. I think one of the biggest obstacles they face during the draft evaluation process is their level of competition, and rightfully so. And it's just a wait-and-see game of can players sustain that level of success they had at small schools against higher competition. And that's a fair question, I think, definitely. The good news, I think, for a guy like Titus Howard is that there are some recent examples to prove it's possible. A great example, not many people are going to, draw this line here. Ali Marpet. You know who Ali Marpet is?
I've heard that name.
Starting left guard for the Bucks.
Okay, yeah.
Played his college ball at a D3 school by the name of Hobart. Played at Hobart.
$20 to anybody who knows where Hobart is in the next 5 seconds. 3, 2...
Okay, the phone didn't ring.
Dang it.
Do you know where it is?
I have no idea. So I would not have been able to confirm nor deny if they were correct.
I wish I had looked that up just so to freak you out. Hobart College.
I'm going to take a wild guess. Kentucky.
I don't believe so. When I first thought that it didn't pop up anything.
Oh, great. They don't even have a website.
I think I found it. Hang on. I think I found it. Hobart. The Hobart Smith. As a joint. There's the Hobart Statesman and the William Smith Herons.
So he could have put Hobart JC and fooled people into thinking it was JUCO, but it was really Jointco.
Hobart and William Smith colleges. Besides about Marpet, the line I'm trying to make here is there were concerns about how he would do against NFL caliber players. I mean, obviously he's proven his worth. He's starting left guard for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And according to Pro Football Focus, I checked out that report today, he was the league's 8th ranked offensive guard last year. Other more recent examples from last year's draft, Dallas Goedert went to North Dakota State as a tight end now, the Eagles. And a little home state love, Indianapolis Colts linebacker Darius Leonard from South Carolina State. So, for Titus Howard, the offensive tackle of Alabama State, he's got a lot to prove the combine. But his ability to just be fluid in his movements, he stands out among his peers from more well-known programs. He's got a lot of appealing size, 6'5", 322. If he can continue to develop that physique and add lower body strength, he's really got the ability to emerge as a future star as an NFL bookend along an offensive line.
And he played quarterback in high school.
Did he really?
Yeah. It was... that is just very weird transition to go from quarterback to offensive lineman, and now you're a potential NFL offensive lineman. But, I mean, apparently he was a high-end athletic type guy, so he has some athleticism in it. Offensive line, that definitely helps with your draft stock if you could be athletic, flexible, and, quick. So that can help him for sure.
Did you know that Hobart College won the 2005 sailing championship?
Not rowing, sailing.
Sailing, yes, sailing.
Ooh.
I don't know if they have rowing. If they do, that's not been successful. Ooh, listen to their sports. This is interesting. Hobart College, basketball, cross country, football, golf, ice hockey, lacrosse. They do have rowing, sailing, soccer, squash, tennis. And tennis.
Oh, yeah, squash is. I've seen squash played in a couple different TV shows, and those TV shows did take place in New York, so it makes sense.
I cannot say that I have ever watched squash.
Oh, no, me neither.
Go down.
It's pretty intense, though, from what I've heard.
Hey, we've got a lot more still to come in hour 2 as well. Continuing with this combine discussion. Also in hour 2, you're going to be hearing from Monte Lee, head coach of the Clemson Tigers, and Mark Kingston, head coach of the South Carolina Gamecocks, as each of those two head coaches preview the upcoming Reedy River Rivalry series coming up this weekend. Tomorrow night is in Clemson, Saturday at Fluor Field, Sunday in Columbia. All of that to come in second hour. Also, basing off the other combine notes that we went through, have a few more players I want to mention. Also on myself, just how much does the combine matter? And how do the numbers translate? We'll talk about that also. Sylvie, before we get out of here for hour 1, what's the latest off the Derek Williams and Morris scoreboard for Clemson women's basketball in action tonight in Durham taking on Duke?
Sadly, the game just went final. I think the Lady Tigers were up at halftime by a minimal margin, but they end up losing the game 63-59. Just it got away from them and they just couldn't pull through. But good performances from your star players. Just didn't have enough to get it done tonight. But Westbrook had 20, Thornton had 10, Danielle Edwards had 7 steals as well. So some good performances from top players, just not enough help off the bench and from a couple other players to get it done in Durham.
Amanda Butler still has a very good case for National Coach of the Year, though.
Absolutely.
She would get my vote, hands down. That wraps up hour 2. Like I say, stay tuned. We've got you some audio from both Monte Lee and Mark Kingston coming your way. Also, more combine discussions, including player to watch at this year's NFL Combine. All of that more to come right here on 101.7 WGOG. He's Austin Silvey. I'm Cade Crenshaw. Hour 1 is done. Hour 2 is coming up next.
Here's the latest from ABC News. I'm Brian Clark. President Trump previously denied involvement in getting Jared Kushner a top-secret security clearance, but a new report questions that process.
Had been stalled since the inauguration. According to the Times, both the CIA and former White House counsel Don McGahn recommended that he be denied top-secret clearance. But the paper reports that last year, Kelly wrote a memo saying the president had, quote, ordered him to clear Kushner's path.
ABC's Pierre Thomas. The White House says it doesn't comment on security clearances. Michael Cohen, President Trump's former fixer, spent a third day giving congressional testimony, this time to a closed House Intelligence Committee.
Michael Cohen spent another 8 hours on Capitol Hill behind closed doors with the House Intelligence Committee. He will be back again next week. And, of course, Cohen has revealed that there are further criminal investigations from the Southern District of New York, the U.S. attorney there. The bottom line, the president's Michael Cohen problems are far from over.
ABC's chief White House correspondent Jonathan Karl. 2 towns in Northern California are completely cut off by after a river broke its banks in heavy rains.
Over 2,000 homes have been impacted by flooding in Sonoma County alone, and rescues have been underway, says Sonoma County Sheriff Mark Essig.
We had 2 rescues that our public safety partners performed.
The water is receding, but not as quickly as had been expected. Alex Stone, ABC News.
Texas has executed a 70-year-old inmate for killing his estranged wife's family nearly 30 years ago. And Illinois health officials warning anyone who traveled through Midway Airport last Friday they may have been exposed to measles. This is ABC News.
Black History Month Spotlight from Babbel.
Connect, collaborate, innovate. That's the vision behind Tech Women. Founded by Andrea Moore, the organization has become a destination for Black women in technology. Her efforts provide leadership and community for those looking to establish themselves in this competitive and evolving field.
Brought to you by Babbel, the #1 selling language learning app in the world. Try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
It's time to join the millions of people using Zoom video conferencing. Turn any size conference room, huddle room, or executive office into a Zoom room. Flawless HD video, crystal clear audio, and instant wireless sharing. It'll even work with your existing hardware. Start your meetings with a single touch, or use Zoom's new voice command feature. Hey Zoom, start meeting. Huddle happy. Visit Zoom.us to set up your free Zoom room trial today. That's Zoom.us. Zoom video conferencing.
Whether it's your vehicle needing front-end work or the engine light is on, or maybe there's even a skip or the oil pressure has fallen, you begin to worry a little bit. But trust me, there's no need. Go by and see my friends at Tedeschi Auto Repair in Powdersville. Tedeschi services all American and Japanese cars, and they're open Monday through Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 6 p.m. Once again, they're located at 4407 Highway 153 in Powdersville. There's no need to worry about your car when you have a shop like Tedeschi Auto Repair. Tedeschi is a name you can trust. When you go out to eat, you're looking for a fun atmosphere with great service and a friendly staff. And for some of you, you're looking for free Wi-Fi. Well, what if I told you you can find all these things at the Burrito Shack in Seneca? Located at 12,020 North Radio Station Road in Seneca, the Burrito Shack was just recently voted the best meal for under $10. If you mention you heard about them here on the Evening Sports page, let the...
Here's the deal. At Wendy's, every hamburger is made with fresh, never frozen beef. Like the Dave's Double, which is made with a half pound of hot and juicy beef. And for a lot of deals, download the Wendy's app, where you can find a bunch of great offers on delicious Wendy's food, like the Dave's Double. So get the Wendy's app downloaded today and start dealing.
Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada. At participating Wendy's for a limited time.
Derek Ritter Williams and Morris Law Firm proudly has been serving the upstate for over 57 years. They're the oldest law firm in Oconee County, and they offer a wide range of legal services, including real estate closings, title insurance, estate planning, probate, business and corporate law, also civil litigation, bodily injury, and adoptions. So call them today at 882-2747 or stop by their convenient location on North Fairplay Street in historic downtown Seneca. Derek Ritter Williams and Morris, they're here for you.
Moon's Drugstore in Westminster would like to thank you for putting your trust in us. As the oldest pharmacy in the upstate, we appreciate your business and plan to continue serving our customers for many years to come. So if waiting around at large chain pharmacies is exhausting you, or come to Moon's to experience the true meaning of customer service, we offer all the medications and services of a modern pharmacy with the friendly, personalized service of a hometown business. So welcome home to Moon's Drugstore, trusted by physicians and families since 1901.
This is CJ Spiller.
This is Marcus Lattimore.
This is Phil Steele.
This is Lamar Jackson, ACC Player of the Year, and you're listening to Evening Sports Page.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Evening Sports Page right here on 101.7 WGOG. That man's Austin Silvey. I'm Cade Crenshaw. Glad to have you with us here tonight on the program. To reach us, it's 638-3616, 638-3616 if you want to join the program here tonight. Also, you can reach us on the text line. That text line number is 643-5662, 643-5662. On the text line. Sylvia, we continue our NFL Combine conversation soon. Here in a moment, I'll be giving you the biggest measurables of the day from the biggest names, and also all your South Carolina and Clemson players over the measurables of the weight, height, that type of thing for quarterback, running back, receiver, and offensive lineman today. Defensive players are later on. And also, the schedule was released for all the Clemson players by Clemson Athletic Office. I'm going to be running down those times where if you're interested, you can tune the Info Network and watch how many bench press reps Dexter Lawrence can get and that type of thing. Also, coming up here in this hour, more NFL Combine discussions, but also previewing the Reedy River Rivalry. The Red Sox and the Yankees of college baseball, that is the Tigers and the Gamecocks on the diamond. Coming up this weekend, we'll have that coverage for you here in this hour. And also, you're going to be hearing from both Monte Lee, head coach of the Tigers, and Mark Kingston, head coach of the Gamecocks, all tonight in this hour. It's 9:08. We go off at 10, so we better get started now. So we're continuing on with guys that really need to prove themselves, I think, in the Combine this year. Of course, all of your lower school guys do, lower names. Here's one that's a bigger name that at one point was the projected number 1 overall pick, Ed Oliver, defensive tackle of Houston. He falls into a category of, I guess, the same theme common along the big board of undersized. He played right around 280, 285 when he was at Houston, which is small for an interior lineman in the league. To kind of put that in perspective, the Eagles' lightest defensive tackle this past year was Tim Jernigan at 295. So hopefully Ed Oliver's frame can support some weight. I mean, either way, I expect him to smash the combine. He's got quick feet, great agility. Will that be enough, though, to prevent a draft day slide? I mean, Silver, when you hear the name Ed Oliver, what's your projected round here? Are you saying round 1? If so, high, low, middle, maybe slips to second round?
I have him right now in my top 5. I think he's a top 10 player without a doubt. I honestly think he should go top 5, but we know how the draft can go where, if somebody that maybe wasn't expected this whole time goes early, kind of like a Denzel Ward at 4 last year, was not expected to go there at all. That kind of, it pushes some of the better players back. So, barring anything like that, he's a top 10 player, bar none to me. I don't see how, but he's an explosive guy, and I think he's going to be a really good NFL player. But I guess the biggest thing with him is also he's got to answer some of those questions about kind of how this last year ended and, all that stuff. Some stuff about the coat with Major Applewhite on the sideline, all that. But overall, as a player, he's top 5 caliber to me.
Staying with the underrated category, let's talk about a Senior Bowl player here, Silvey, and Nasir Adderley, the safety out of Delaware. One of the better safeties in this draft class overall, in my opinion, small school, which is one of the most common reasons players need to prove themselves at the combine and also on their pro day. I don't know if day. But he's an explosive athlete, should have a pretty good showing, I think, overall. But he's a low-level school name that can be a big-time prospect.
Yeah, I think he can get a first-round grade. I think he's a first-round caliber type of player. But like I said, it depends sometimes the way these drafts go, who needs what position, just all that kind of stuff matters. I have him going right now, I think, anywhere between 29 and 32, really somewhere in that range as of right now. But, he was at the Senior Bowl, had a really good week, looked good, fluid in his motion. He attacked the ball carriers. He's kind of a ball hawk for a safety type. He really shows, I guess the best way to say it, at the safety position, he showed some cornerback-type instincts. He has ball skills. He's got burst, speed, a good knowledge of the game, smooth. I liked what I saw from him, and I think a lot of he was actually a little more popular going into Senior Bowl week than a lot of guys on that little football are. But I think he just helped himself that week, and he has a chance to continue to boost his draft stock at the Combine.
Absolutely. One other name I want to give you here, the guy that I question, and I know you're going to want in on this discussion, is DK Metcalf, the wide receiver out of Ole Miss. If you have not seen it already, you need to go find it. And that viral photo of him from working out looks like the freaking Hulk. All right, the dude is jacked. The question, though, is just how will a receiver that big be able to move on the field of the Combine? And also, a neck injury ended his college career. How completely healthy is he from that? I think a good showing in Indy could earn him a day 1 call. So, do you have his measurables from today there in front of you?
I do. Just give me a second. Scroll down.
Because
I have these in a weird order.
They were an impressive amount of measurements here. No doubt about that one, especially his percent of body fat. So I want you to share that here and take me through the measurables of DK Metcalf from the Combine today.
Let's see. Here we go. He measured in at 6'3", 3/8 inches, 228 pounds, one of the heavier receivers along with N'Keal Harry. The thing with Harry, though, is he's a little bit shorter, so that's a lot of weight for a wide receiver. That's his size. For Metcalf, it's a little more, dispersed around his body. But measured his arms, 34 7/8 inches, some of the longest. It may have been the longest. Looking at it now, Jazz Ferguson was 30. Yeah, so he had the second longest arms. No, he had the longest arms. Yeah, Jazz was second. The longest arms, his wingspan is, I think, record-breaking, 82 7/8 inches. No other player besides Miles Boykin out of Notre Dame, Jazz Ferguson. Those were the only two that were even relatively close at 81.5 for Jazz Ferguson, 81 3/8 for Miles Boykin. So 82 7/8. I mean, he beat everybody by an inch and a half virtually in wingspan. And his hands are 9 7/8. Not the biggest, but that's a fine size. You've got guys like Deebo Samuel, who's a smaller guy, but 10-inch hands. And obviously big hands on a wide receiver are a really attractive thing for teams. But the measurables look great athletically. When you look at him, he looks like a bodybuilder. Honestly, the way he looks, without speculating, I wouldn't be surprised if Osterine would be found in his system. We'll say that much. But I like, as an athlete, just looking at the way he's built, he looks impressive. He looks like a freak. Now, he dealt with injuries this year. I think he only played 7-some games, and he was somewhat pretty productive in those 7 games. But dealing with injuries, this crazy bodybuilding thing, like he'd probably be better off just doing weightlifting or something, or modeling or whatever they do. But I think athletically he's awesome. But at wide receiver in the NFL, and really at any level, but more so in the NFL, you've got to be flexible. And when you're as thick and built the way he is, and when you're 6'3", 3'8", you're a little bit taller and built like that, it's hard to, you're not going to be as flexible. You're kind of a stiff receiver. And I know people are looking at him thinking, man, that's a top wide receiver, this, that, and the other. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he went, because I think a team is going to look at athleticism and the way he's built and kind of be hypnotized by that. But I think his flexibility is really, really questionable, and without being flexible, I don't think he's exactly what I would go for in a first-round wide receiver.
6'3", and what was it, 6'3" and what, 3/8?
Yeah.
The body fat gets me. That's impressive. 1.6% body fat. 1.6% body fat on 228 pounds. Holy cow.
Oh, yeah.
Holy cow.
And athletically, bodybuilding, dude's cut.
That's impressive. That's really, really impressive. Does he have the quickness at the next level? I think I'm going to be watching his 40 time and his 3-cone drill. I think a lot of people overlook the 3-cone drill as how important of a insight it can be to guys' future and how talented they can be. Let's look at Hunter Renfrow. Hunter Renfrow is not going to run a great 40-yard time. He's going to run a great 3-cone drill.
Yeah, and those 3-cone drill, things like that, are more important to me. The 20-yard shuttle and the 3-cone drill, because that, especially for like a receiver, running back, DBs, guys like that, your skill positions, that shows your short area quickness and your burst, how quick you can move around in a small area. So I think that's actually a lot more important than even your
comeback on the other side. Are there any other guys you think that have a lot to prove at this year's Combine?
There's probably a few. I think a lot of these guys that I'm really paying attention to, a lot of them were in the Senior Bowl, and they really helped themselves a lot that week. There's so many names. I know Zach Bailey got invited, but I don't even think he's going to be able to participate in half that stuff.
Same way with Austin Bryant.
No, Nate Davis, he was at the Senior Bowl. I was actually very impressed with him, but I'll be interested to see how he does. I'd probably have to look it over a little bit. I think there's some guys that may have hurt their draft stock a little bit at the Senior Bowl, and it's easy for me to think of those guys because they're still fresh. John Kaminsky's one that comes to mind. He did not perform well in one-on-ones or even really in like 7-on-7 or the game itself. When he went against some of the Power 5, the bigger offensive linemen, because he played Division II ball, he he was not quite as explosive as he was on film against Division II opponents. There was one time he got just thrown like a rag doll. I think it was Elgton Jennings out of, where's he from? Texas A&M or Mississippi State? Mississippi State, yeah. He's the center, and he threw Kaminsky like a rag doll. So he kind of hurt himself, I think, in a way. I don't even know if he's invited or not, but I would assume he is. So if he is, he's one that probably could help himself in the combine. I don't know how much, but yeah, he's one that comes to mind off the top of my head.
Sylvie, we're going to take a break, come back on the other side, and address this question. Just how much does the combine matter? All right. One thing is, we'll take a look at the 3 names I have wrote down that I think were the biggest NFL combine numbers bust of all time. Talk about that more on the other side. Much more to get to, including Clemson UofSC Baseball preview. Stay tuned. We'll be back.
Do you ever wonder what it would have been like to sit in Floyd's barbershop back in Mayberry? Just imagine sitting in the chair with the barber pole spinning outside and you have a personal relationship with your barber. We can have that same experience at Palmetto Fade. They cut and style. So go by and visit Chris Grant and his wonderful staff at 118 South Catherine Street right here in Walhalla for a great haircut at an even better price. And don't forget, you don't have to worry about having a bad hair day when you have the right cut.
If you need service on your septic system, you can't afford to wait. When you call Express Septic in Greenville, you will be working with the best in the business. Family owned and operated, they serve the entire upstate, specializing in everything you need to keep your home or business running smoothly, including new septic tank installation, septic tank pumping, and also emergency repairs with 24-hour availability. I guarantee when you call the experts at Express Septic Services, the job will be done right this time. They offer both senior and military discounts. So give them a call today at 864-303-0337. That's 303-337. Or you can also find them on Facebook at Express Septic Services or online at expresssepticsc.net. Express Septic says, pump that tank.
The Burrito Shack in Seneca has so much to offer, from their amazing deals and their irresistible food to their fast and friendly service. Go by and check out their made-to-order menu of burritos, tacos, nachos, wings, and so much more, along with their delicious homemade desserts at 12,020 North Radio Station Road in Seneca. And if you tell them you heard them here on the Evening Sports page, they'll throw in your drink for free. Make sure you go by and see my friends at the Burrito Shack in Seneca.
Here's the deal. The Dave's Double is made with a half pound of fresh, never frozen beef. Here's a lot of deals. Download the Wendy's app where you can get a bunch of great offers on delicious Wendy's food like the Dave's Double.
Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada at participating Wendy's for a limited time.
For over 40 years, American Services has maintained a continuous focus on quality services performed in the safest manner possible. Providing security, staffing, and janitorial services, American Services was founded and is still headquartered right here in upstate South Carolina. They offer a wide range of services under one management umbrella that serves both you individually and personally. To find out more, give them a call today at 292-7450 and find out today about American Security, Action Staffing, and ACI Janitorial. American Services. 3 services, 1 solution.
You're now listening to the Evening Sports page, where you get tomorrow's sport tonight.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Evening Sports page right here on 101.7 WGOG. He's Austin Silvey. I'm Cade Crenshaw. Glad to have you with us here tonight on the program. Silvey asked this question: just how much does the NFL Combine matter? We look at guys that went on to have very successful and are currently having great NFL careers that were never invited to the Combine. Doug Baldwin, Julian Edelman, Antonio Gates, Tyreek Hill, Steven Gostkowski, Adam Thielen, Andrew Villanueva. Great players, all pro guys, Super Bowl MVPs in that list I just named, that were never invited to the Combine. The guys that are invited to the Combine, that have those numbers that jump off the page at you, how do they always translate? because we can put a lot of weight on these numbers and things. How do guys run their 40, and how do they do this, and how do they do that? How many reps do they get? What's their vertical? That type of thing. But overall, does it really show the great players? I'm going to give you 3 names, Silvey. I want you to tell me if you know any of them. First one is Matt Jones. Remember Matt Jones?
Yeah, he played for the Redskins some, didn't he?
Believe
remember him there.
Believe so. Hang on, I can look. I didn't have it right here in front of me, but I will look. Hang on. Don't believe so. At least not right offhand. No, he did not.
Does he play? Yeah, because I just looked him up. He played at the Redskins some.
I'm talking about the wide receiver that went in the first round in 2005.
Oh, no, I have no idea who that is. Matt Jones is a very,
common
that's like
name.
a default name.
Yeah. It's like John Smith.
Yeah.
So Matt Jones is a guy who played quarterback at Arkansas. Matt Jones is a guy who once held the SEC's record for rushings by a quarterback. That was later beaten by one Tim Tebow. But Matt Jones was just a freak of an athlete. Truly, truly was. His athleticism prompted that position switch from quarterback to wide receiver. And that helped his draft status a lot. He wasn't going to play quarterback at the pro level. He started at 6'6", right? He ran a sub 4.4 40. A sub 4.4. Enticing stature and speed combination. The Jaguars took him 21st overall. They took him 6 spots ahead of the Atlanta Falcons taking Roddy White, 3 spots before Aaron Rodgers fell to the Green Bay Packers. You know, Matt Jones lasted for 4 seasons in Jacksonville. He started 15 games, caught 166 passes for 2,000 yards and 15 touchdowns. His later in 2009, had a lot of off-the-field issues and troubles. Jacksonville had enough, let him go. He was signed by the Bengals practice squad back in 2010, never did anything there. All right, what is Matt Jones doing now? Well, working as a sports personality in Arkansas.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, good career choice. Good career choice. Matt Jones is a frequent athlete, had a great combine, but it never translated. How about this, Silvey? You remember Troy Williamson?
Now, that one does sound really familiar.
Troy
Williams. Oh, my gosh. Where did he play? I remember that name. This is bugging me.
You know him. You know him
Wait,
well.
I've got it. It had to be South Carolina, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Came out
I was
Silver
like,
Bowl.
why do I know that so well?
I was seeing if you remembered him. Yeah, so Troy Williamson's a guy, home state ties. He played at Silver Bowl High School, as I mentioned, went on to play at South Carolina. Whew. Troy Williamson was billed as the next Randy Moss. All right. Troy Williamson, 6'1", 203. Freak of an athlete. I'll take you back to 2005. That's when he was drafted. The Vikings had just desperate to replicate that vertical threat in their offense. Troy Williamson was fast. His 40 time was 4.32. But he just caught a bad case of the dropsies. He failed to hang on in Minnesota. Lasted just 3 years there. Caught 79 passes on 167 targets for 3 touchdowns. He was later traded to the Jaguars in 2008 for a 6th-round draft pick. Stayed there for 2 years, then fell out of the
Yeah, and that's the thing. He was a 2-time state champion in the 100, 200 meters and track. So, yeah, athletic doesn't always translate to football.
Last one here, Silvey. You remember Vernon Golston?
Yeah, I do remember that.
You remember Vernon Golston?
Old Vernon.
Had all the measurables that teams love. He had the size, he had the speed, he had the length, he had the strength. He was just raw and inexperienced, though. Stood at 6'4", 258 pounds. He was just a physical specimen who was impressive at the combine. As a defensive end, ran a 4.67 40, had a 35.5-inch vertical, took 37 reps of 225 on the bench. New York, they were smitten. Would start just 5 games, have no sacks over 3 years. These are three names that I brought up because these are some of the biggest busts in recent memory that had good NFL Combine numbers. So don't put too much weight on how guys perform in the Combine because it doesn't always translate to, oh, these are going to be the best players at the next level. Example here. One name I left off because he still has a whole career ahead of him. For the Bengals, ran the fastest 40 time ever. He's obsolete almost in that offense.
Yeah, he's been dealing with injuries and all. Struggled in the little bit of time got, but a guy like him is like an Andy Isabella this year, but I think Andy Isabella may be a little bit better.
Is he out of UMass?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
just
what I thought.
Like those small slot receiver type. Except I think John is he played more of the outside role at Washington, if I'm not mistaken. Just he was more of a down the field threat, just a streaker. But I mean, he's talented. But I mean, the NFL is trending more towards those kind of. If you're short like he is, you've got to be able to play more in the slot, at least right now. That's why I think Andy is going to be fine. But yeah, John Ross, the billing's still out on him. I think he still needs some time, but not the greatest first season.
So you're more of a NFL draft analyst than I am. How much weight do you individually put on a combine performance?
Virtually, I consider it some, not a ton. I really, but like I said, if I'm paying attention to anything, it's more the known guys whose draft positioning is kind of up in the air. They're guys who are ranging from anywhere in the first round to day 2 somewhere, guys who are ranging between day 2 and day 3, who have like not a real set position yet. So I like to watch them a little bit more, and especially, like I said, skill positions in that 3-yard drill or 3-cone drill and the 20-yard shuttle. And then I like to watch some guys, like a lot of defensive ends, especially edge rushers in the broad jump, kind of how explosive they can be. The vertical's always fun to watch for wide receivers and DBs just because, well, I mean, I like to see wide receivers and DBs who can jump. And then, of course, defensive linemen's always fun, too, because some of them, bless their hearts, they just can't. And then some, like probably Christian Wilkins, will jump out of the building and surprise you. Really, the Combine's just more or less to see it. A lot of those other drills are testing just sort of how athletic you are. Put more stock in it than they need to, just because I think the athleticism sometimes it hypnotizes you, and especially teams that are desperate for a thing. Like you said, Troy Williamson, when he got drafted, they were desperate to replace Randy Moss, and they ended up overdrafting because he was athletic and he looked good.
If the Vikings had still had Randy Moss there, Troy Williamson probably is a late first rounder, maybe early second round pick.
Yeah, and he may end up, and that's the thing. If he was drafted to Moss, that's not fair to him either. He was basically set up to fail. Or for a lot of these guys, the film speaks for itself, but it's for more the interview process for teams to get to know you, to figure out what makes you tick, to just like, who are you as a person? Like, we've seen you as a player, and then, athletically out in the testing and all, they'll see how you do in some drills, how athletic you are, and they'll take it into consideration, some more than others, just depending. But more or less, it's the behind-the-scenes stuff that's probably weighs in a lot more. Like we've already talked about, Kyler Murray's, Ed Oliver's, guys like that, where you need to get to know those guys personally, what makes them tick, why they've made certain decisions in the past that they made. And, can they draft you and trust you to be who they need you to be? Are you a leader? Who are you as a person? That's really probably the more important part of the Combine. The athletic part matters for some more than others, but it's probably just, you can't draw an audience. So I think the Combine's probably a little bit more for the audience, but it does matter in certain aspects. Like the 40-yard dash is not that important, really. There's not a lot of times in football where you're running just in a straight line down the field. So it's not as important as people, put on it, but it is fun to watch how fast guys run, like Shaquem Griffin last year, running like a 4.38 as a linebacker. It's always fun to see stuff like that, but it's some of those are not quite as important as.
Sylvie, before we get out of here and take a break and come back and talk about the Reedy River rivalry between the Gamecocks and the Tigers and give you the measurables today of both the South Carolina Gamecocks and the Clemson Tigers here. Collective list across the board. For Hunter Renfrow and the receivers, Hunter Renfrow and Deebo Samuel being the two for Renfrow. Height came in at 5'10" and 2/8, weight 184, had a hand length of 7 7/8, and an arm stretch of 29 1/8 inches for Deebo Samuel. Yeah, but by the way, Hunter Renfrow had I want to say he was one of the smallest guys there. I want to say, hang on, I can tell you in a second. He was tied with Naquan Murray of Florida State in terms of height. See if there's any shorter than those two. I don't believe there was. Yes, there was. Marquise Brown.
See, and that's what's so incredible with Renfrow is that hand measurement. That is extremely small for a wide receiver.
Yeah, smallest hands by at least half an inch.
Yeah, and
excuse me, half a foot.
That'll probably turn teams off on this. That's why I think the team that drafts him is going to be one of these steals of the. I mean, we've seen him. We're lucky. We've got to watch him play the past 12, 20 years or whatever at Clemson.
It's been a while.
So I mean, he catches everything, and he showed it at the Senior Bowl, and I think that really helped him too a lot for people getting to watch him. But I think Jim Nagy at the opening press conference that week said it best. Said he may not win the measurables or may not win the weigh-in, but he's going to win the one-on-ones. I thought that was said very well because he is. When he's on the football field, good luck. But weigh-in, probably not his thing. He's no Metcalf, we'll say that.
Not at all. Not at all. But Renfrow may be the receiver by the time it's all said and done in terms of NFL careers. Deebo Samuel, 5'11", 2/8, weight 214, hand 10, arm 33/8 inches. Let's move over to offensive lineman here. For the Gamecocks, Zach Bailey, 6'5" and 1/8, had 299 pounds, dropped a little bit of weight, 299. Hand length of 9 5/8 inches. Arm stretch of 33 inches for Dennis Lee. 6'5" and 1/8 inch, same size as Zach Bailey, by the way. 317 pounds, 9 inches and a half on his hand, and 33 2/8 on his. Also in the offensive line category, of course, you had Mitch Hyde of Clemson, 6'5" and 3/8. Height, weight went 303. Hand stretch was 10 1/4 inch, and arm stretch of 34 1/8. Make sure that was all on my list here. I believe it was of in-state schools, and that would be the case. So that wraps up our NFL Combine discussion here. We're going to take a break, come back on the other side. One moment before we do, though, for as far as you Clemson fans go, give you a look at when all these Clemson players will be competing at the NFL Combine. You have to remember that Austin he's going through the question process, which, in my opinion, is the most important part of the Combine, is because teams just get to know you better. Is he will not be competing in the on-the-field drills. But Albert Huggins is going to be doing the 40-yard vertical jump, brawl jump position drills on Sunday, and do his bench press on Saturday. Trey Lamar the same. Hunter Renfrow doing his bench press tomorrow, and everything else, 40-yard time, all the other stuff on Saturday. Cleveland Farrell all Sunday except his bench press, which is on Saturday. Mitch Hyde, as far as the physical drills, he went through the interview process today. Are tomorrow. Went through the bench press today. Dexter Lawrence, all of his stuff is on Sunday, minus the bench press on Saturday. Same thing with Christian Wilkins. Mark Fields will be testing on Monday. We'll do the bench press on Sunday. Kendall Joseph, all of his field work on Sunday, bench press on Saturday. And Trevon Mullen, all of his work on Monday and bench press on Sunday. Busy, busy time at the NFL Combine. Sylvia, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to let the people hear from both Kingston and Monte Lee head coach of the Gamecocks and the Tigers, respectively, when we come back right here on 101.7 WGOG. We'll be back.
Whether it's your vehicle needing front-end work or the engine light is on, or maybe there's even a skip or the oil pressure has fallen, you begin to worry a little bit. But trust me, there's no need. Go by and see my friends at Tedeschi Auto Repair in Powder. Tedeschi services all American and Japanese cars, and they're open Monday through Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 6 p.m. Once again, they're located at 4407 Highway 153 in Powdersville. There's no need to worry about your car when you have a shop like Tedeschi Auto Repair. Tedeschi is a name you can trust. When you go out to eat, you're looking for a fun atmosphere with great service and a friendly staff. And for some of you, you're looking for free Wi-Fi. Well, what if I told you can do all these things at the Burrito Shack in Seneca? Located at 12,020 North Radio Station Road in Seneca, the Burrito Shack was just recently voted the best meal. If you mention you heard about them here on the Evening Sports page, they'll throw in a free drink with your already made-to-order meal. So make sure you go by and see my friends at the Burrito Shack in Seneca.
Here's the deal. At Wendy's, every hamburger is made with fresh, never frozen beef. Like the Dave's Double, which is made with a half pound of hot and juicy beef. And for a lot of deals, download the Wendy's app, where you can find a bunch of great offers on delicious Wendy's food, like the Dave's Double. So get the Wendy's app downloaded today and start dealing.
Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada. At participating Wendy's for a limited time.
Derek Ritter Williams & Morris Law Firm proudly has been serving the upstate for over 57 years. They're the oldest law firm in Oconee County, and they offer a wide range of legal services, including real estate closings, title insurance, estate planning, probate, business and law, also civil litigation, bodily injury, and adoptions. So call them today at 882-2747 or stop by their convenient location on North Fairplay Street in historic downtown Seneca. Derek Ritter Williams and more for you.
Moon's Drugstore in Westminster would like to thank you for putting your trust in us. As the oldest pharmacy in the upstate, we appreciate your business. Plan to continue serving our customers for many years to come. So if waiting around at large chain pharmacies is exhausting you, or a personal relationship between you and your pharmacist is absent, come to Moon's to experience the true meaning of customer service. We offer all the medications and services of a modern pharmacy, the friendly, personalized service of a hometown business. So welcome home to Moon's Drugstore, trusted by physicians and families since 1901.
We were born for greatness. This is the Evening Sports Page with Cade Crenshaw and Austin Silvey.
We're not nameless, we're not faceless, we were born for greatness.
On 101.7 WGOG.
We're not nameless, we're not faceless, we're greatness.
We're back on the Evening Sports Page, 101.7 WGOG. He's Austin Silvey. I'm Cade Crenshaw. Silvey, what we're going to let the people hear now from is both Monte Lee and Mark Kingston in advancement of the Reedy River Rivalry coming up this weekend between Clemson and South Carolina on baseball diamond. So here they are. First, head coach of the Clemson Tigers, Monte Lee.
How do you like the momentum of your team coming into the South Carolina series?
Well, I feel really good about it. Again, we've played well last weekend, and today may be the most complete game that we played. And ETSU's got a good club. They were 6-1 coming into today. We just all rolling, early in the game and kept that good momentum going. Obviously it was a good game for us, a complete game for us.
For the guys that haven't been a part of this rivalry series, what are you telling them as you go into this weekend?
Quite honestly, we're going to treat this weekend like we do every other in the coaching standpoint. And, I think sometimes when you try to get too high for a rivalry series, you tend to not stay within yourself. I think the big key for us ourselves and do what we're supposed to do. We know that the aggressiveness and the intensity and the energy of the rivalry is going to be there, and we know we're going to be able to feel the crowd. So, I mean, you wouldn't be human if you didn't embrace the rivalry and all the intensity that comes with it, coaching-wise and player-wise. But we're going to try to do everything we can from a preparation standpoint to do what we do every single week to get our guys ready to play. Because they got a good club. I mean, we've already been looking at them and studying their scouting reports and videos, and they're a strong physical club, and they've got some good arms. Their bullpen's very strong, so we got a heck of a test ahead of us this weekend.
How would you describe this rivalry to someone that's never been a part of it or seen?
I think it's a rivalry in all of college baseball. You know, one thing that we sell recruits when they come and visit Clemson is, Clemson and the University of South Carolina is the Red Sox and the Yankees of the state of South Carolina. That's just the way it is. You know, we're not a professional sports state. You know, we are a college state. We're a college athletics state. So the people of this state, they're on one side of the fence or the other, and that's what makes this rivalry so great is, everybody across the state's pulling for one of us. So it's very intense, it's very heated. It's also a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to be a part of.
Monte, what's been the key for you guys in the last your 3 years here and the year before? What's been the key in this series for the streak you guys have been on with it?
I mean, for us, it's just competing competitive. You don't feel like you're out of it. I mean, you saw the game last year when we won the series here. I think we were up 6-0 at one point, and they stormed back and tied the ball game in the ninth inning. We had our best guy in there, Riley, and they find a way to tie the ball game. We win it in extras. The year before, Seth, we're down that strike. We hit a home run to tie it. We win it in extras and win the series. So a lot of times it boils down to, one pitch here or there, whoever capitalizes, typically wins the series. And we've just been fortunate to be able to capitalize. That's the big thing is don't take a pitch off because it could be the pitch that gets us back in the game or wins the series for us, wins the game for us. Every single pitch matters in this rivalry.
How does the experience for the freshmen playing in this environment they're going to face this weekend help them when they get ACC play?
It's going to help tremendously. I mean, again, it's like a super regional environment. So, you're not going to be able to put your guys in a more competitive environment and crowd than you do this weekend. So for all of our first-year guys that are going to get a chance to play in it, embrace it because this is as good as it gets. And this is as intense as it gets. So I love it. I mean, I'm going to enjoy every minute of it, just being able to be a part of it. And I'm going to tell them that, hey, embrace it and enjoy every bit of it. And, it doesn't get any better.
You have 17 home runs now, actually 5 South Carolina, second in the nation. Do you think you've ever had 10 different players with a home run this early in the season?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't recall having a lineup where, it's spread out like that. A lot of times when guys hit for power or hitting home runs, a lot of times they hit them in bunches. And, for us right now, it just seems like guys that are getting really good swings off when they get a good pitch to hit. And that's what we do.
You're one of those rare guys. The fact that you guys play in 3 different areas of the state, and that makes it different than other rivalries around the country.
It's unique. It's certainly unique. I don't know anybody else that does that. And, it doesn't mean that somebody else out there with their rivalry weekend doesn't do what we do, but I don't think so. And I think it makes it really cool. I think it's challenging. It's challenging just because you got to play in 3 different ballparks and 3 different days and in the seats. And then when you go to Greenville or the neutral site, it's pretty split, right down the middle. And then there's going to be an awful lot of garnet and black there on, in Game 3. So it's just what it's all about. It's what it's all about. I think it's very unique and it's a lot of fun.
You're one of those rare guys that's been in both dugouts. But do you have a favorite memory in this rivalry?
Oh, geez. I mean, golly. Watching our guys, dogpile last year on the walk-off, triple by Wharton. Was Robert Jolly's little leg on the Flintstones, running around the bases. If you watch the video, it's pretty funny. I think he took 250 steps between second and third. Just stuff like that. Seth's home run to tie it, and we won it in extra innings. And then my first year here, Alex Eubanks, Alex Eubanks started Game 3. He was stellar. He was as good as it gets. But so there's been a lot of great memories. But, at the end of the day, it's about the kids. It's about the players, and it's about the fans. I'm pretty irrelevant when it comes to this weekend. It's going to be how our guys compete. It's about our players and how they compete. And I'm excited about seeing, how our guys show up on Friday ready to go.
Media earlier this week previewing that series coming up with the Gamecocks this weekend. And that's script. Let's go down to Columbia and now hear from Gamecock head baseball coach Mark Kingston.
Clemson, South Carolina week. I think that says it all. I'll be happy to answer questions.
Mark, if you could, how are Noah?
Should be fine. Noah is 100%. He'll be ready to go Friday. And I'd say Chris is not quite there, but will be a game time decision, but we're pretty confident.
If Chris does play, will it be catcher or first?
Most likely first.
Okay, and then
we'll go with the same three.
Any left to come?
What have you seen out of Carmen and Dylan, I guess, this week? And what would you like to see them improve on heading into what is, the biggest name opponent so far?
Yeah, the biggest thing for them that jumps off the stat page is just they've walked some guys. And really, so far, they're the only two guys that have walked guys. Our walks per inning are down significantly this year outside of those two. And the reason why we've made them our Friday and Saturday starters is because we think they're two of our more talented guys on this staff, which is turning out to be a pretty good staff. So at the end of the day, they found the strike zone, and I thought Harley was much better his second outing. He didn't walk anybody his second outing, so I think he's moving in the right direction. And Carm, the thing with him is his pitches move so much that at times he has a little bit of trouble of knowing where to start him, so they end up in the strike zone. But I think that will continue to fix itself as we go.
Yeah, Quentin Perez was a guy we talked too much about in the fall and the preseason. What has he shown to work his way into the starting lineup?
Yeah, he's just a scrappy player. He has some junior college experience. He's a left-handed hitter. Probably will not strike out a whole lot. So he's just in the middle of a lineup with a lot of guys that have done well enough for us to keep putting him in the lineup. He's going to have to continue to play well to stay. But he's a guy that gives us a little bit different dimension.
Taken away these past 2 weeks from your team, and what are you going to focus on going into Clemson this weekend to try and get the win over Clemson?
Yeah, I think we've seen a lot of about our team that encourages us in terms of the power and the bullpen, and a lot of the new guys have taken to this level fairly quickly. I think there are things we need to improve on. Our infield defense needs to continue to get better. I think we've had a few more mental mistakes from the new players than we would like, but that will continue to expose them to what it takes at this level and continue to teach them about the game. I think pitching has a chance to be really good, but it hasn't been as good as it can be yet. So we'll just continue to evaluate and improve and evaluate and improve. That's how a season goes. You see what you're doing, you need to make adjustments, and you make those adjustments, whether it's with positions, whether it's with lineup, whether it's in your rotation. We'll just continue to evaluate what you're seeing and make adjustments that will help you as you go.
I think Nick's struck out 14 times over the first 8 games. What have you seen from him? And you mentioned Sunday's at-bats were a little bit better and kind of improve heading into this week.
Yeah, he needs to be better. There's no doubt. He knows it. We know it. Everybody knows it. And I think he will. But he's just, I don't know if it's impressing. I don't know if it's them finding, something in his swing that they can attack that we need to then, work on to make sure that they can't do that. He's playing really good defense, been really solid out there at shortstop. So we just need to make sure that he's giving us some quality at bats, which he's capable of. Our pitching is pretty good, and he took some really solid at bats most of the spring. So just a matter of continuing to get him up to speed at this level.
Mark, I'm sure you hear from fans all the time about the importance of the Clemson series, as do all the coaches here. Does that talk and pressure cause you to coach any differently this weekend, or is it business as usual and you do everything the same as you always do?
I mean, I know people want to say you do more, and it means more. It means a lot to our fans, and we appreciate that very much. And it means a lot to our players, especially the ones that have grown up in this state. But I'm a believer that if you have to change something this week to try and improve your chances of winning this series, then you're not doing something right on a general basis. So I think we try to operate at the absolute highest level 365 days a year. So to think we have to create something new, I think would be an injustice to how you go about your business every day. Do we want to win? Yeah, absolutely, we want to win, and we're going to be very prepared. I feel like we're like that every week.
Coach, that said, I mean, how much pressure is on this team to not only win Friday, but win the series in general, because it is such a...
Pressure is how you define it. I think pressure is having to feed your family. I think pressure is dealing with health issues. I think pressure is bigger things in this world. We're playing baseball. It's a great series. It's a tremendous opportunity, and we're going to try to win it. That's it. No more. No, we're going to try to win it as much as we can, but to put it in the same vein and make these kids feel like there's a lot of pressure and tremendous opportunity, and that's how we're going to attack it.
Gamecock baseball coach Mark Kingston previewing the matchup with the Tigers this weekend on the diamond. And Silvey, this is a rivalry that's very, very... There's a lot of people here that love the rivalry of the Gamecock. This baseball rivalry seems to just be special. I think it's one of the more special aspects of the rivalry as a whole across...
No, it is. And obviously college baseball is not on the same level of popularity nationwide as basketball, football, but very popular, and it's inclusive. The West Coast team won it last year in Oregon State. Arizona's in it a lot. So it's nationally it's a lot more inclusive, where better teams seem to be more spread out. Even though the SEC and ACC tend to have a lot of ranked teams, when it gets to those final 8 in Omaha, there's always a good mixture of teams, so I think that draws a lot of interest to it too. But these are two teams that are well known. I mean, Clemson's been to the postseason quite a bit. They've hosted 3 straight regionals in recent years. Everybody knows South Carolina. They went to 3 regionals to start this decade, won the first 2, and were just a little bit short coming up with the second or the third straight one. So these two teams are known. They've met in the postseason. They've been playing baseball against each other since 1899. It's one of the more special rivalries in college sports and in the country, and it's going to be a fun series because there's just so much that we like. I broke it down. I put out a little article thing earlier. That's eveningsportspage.com. Y'all need to go check that out, by the way. Of just comparing the stats for each team they both played 8 games, both had 1 canceled, so I just kind of wanted to see where they were stat-wise, and they are eerily similar in some areas. It's weird. Both have only 24 earned runs allowed. Gamecocks have more runs scored on them by 2, but same amount of earned runs. Clemson has given up 24 walks. Gamecocks have given up 23. The ERA for Clemson's 3.0. ERA for Gamecocks is 2.92. I mean, that's just pitching. Batting wise, both teams have about the same amount of putouts. The fielding percentage is only 0.009 percentage difference.
These teams are as close as you can get it.
Yeah, and
to be in close one.
Really, the only thing that's really different is the number of stolen base. Clemson is drastically better in stolen bases right
Ray
now.
Tanner was never a coach that liked stealing bases.
Yeah, Clemson,
he played conservative baseball.
They have 22 stolen bases this year. South Carolina has 6.
Yeah. One final note here, Silvey. Best thing I saw today. Today is actually the final day that Nebraska is paying former head coach Bo Pelini of their football program. He was fired in December of 2014. Yet according to his contract, he was paid in full. So since then, since December of 2014, he has been paid $128,000 every month since to not coach. Today was the final day he got that final paycheck.
Good. I never liked that guy. He was just always so mad about everything. I mean, win 9 games a year, but he's just mad all the time.
Oh, Bo Pelini. That wraps up our show this week. Stay tuned of the Reedy River Rivalry for you this weekend. That's on Twitter, Evening Sports PA, on Facebook, the Evening Sports page, and as always on the website. It's www.eveningsportspage.com. We'll see you on Monday. Everybody have a great weekend. He's Austin Silvey. I'm Crenshaw. Enjoy your weekend. Remember to smile. Good night, everybody.